Everyone wants more money, but most of us weren't taught how to create an abundant life. That's where the More Money Show comes in. If you're ready to have more money, create more freedom, and experience more fun, turn the volume up. It's time to learn how to create the prosperity and life you have been dreaming of. Here's your host, Cassie Parks.
Hello and welcome to this episode. I am your host, Cassie Parks, and I am back with Michele Reynolds. Welcome, Michele. I'm super excited to talk to you today.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Me too. So tell me what's awesome.
Guess what?
What?
I have been single and supported myself for 1 year today.
Woo! That is amazing. How does that feel?
Oh my gosh, I'm so super proud of myself. I'm just happy, and it feels powerful and strong, and I feel like a badass.
Awesome. I love it. So fun. What's the most surprising thing about crossing this year as being single and supporting yourself?
Well, the most surprising thing is that I didn't miss him. Sometimes you think when you get divorced, you're going to be like moping around and woe is me. I'm like, I really have done good and just really served myself and taken care of myself over the last year. And what makes me happiest is my all around self-care journey and just, learning as a person and just really putting myself first so that then I can serve other people in my life.
Yeah. I love it. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what are you excited about in year 2 of being single? Or maybe you won't be single for 2 years, but what are you excited about?
Oh, wow. You just totally, I was like, woo. You never know. Open to possibility. I am most excited about for 2019 is I wouldn't even say reining in, but expanding my wealth so that my optimal well-being as a person is taken care of. The time I pretty much have, I can do what I want when I want pretty much now. The health is way better than it was even a year ago, and it's getting better every day. And the wealth is certainly, I didn't really know when I started the year, because I'm a spender. I thought, wow, I'm like, I got all this money, and I did a pretty good job at spending it, but it's not all gone. So I'm excited that, I have money coming in every month, and that, I've asked for help from Cassie in that I want to learn successful money habits. And we are definitely doing that. There's no question. And it's growing me, and it's painful. But it also makes me feel so strong and so like I have all my ducks in a row. It just really feels so good. So that's what I'm working on, is because I know, as when I was a Marine, I know I'm capable of doing more than I think I can. So that's the same with money. I know I can make way more money than I'm telling myself I can make, because I've done it. So, I've got the history to do it. I just got to do it again.
I love that. Do you think, I have the question, I don't know what the answer is going to be. Do you think you could have done this type of work and this type of growing with money and looking at this stuff while you were still in your marriage? Or do you think there wasn't like capacity because you had to get out and sort of not have all of that on your plate?
I think from could I have? Yes, I probably could have, because we kept our money separate. He didn't ever want to keep money together. So I could have, but from an emotional capacity, there wasn't room there. Like I didn't have the bandwidth to invest the time that it took to do it. In fact, I think I ran from you for a year to even get me here.
Yeah.
Right? Like we've tried to do this for over a year now. And it's like, it's like, oh man, it just feels so good to be now running the race versus, not chasing it anymore. Like we're actually doing the work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah. I love that we're doing the
So
work.
thanks for staying with me during that year of me running from you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And she wasn't like chasing me. I opted, like I want help, and then I like pushed back. So, she wasn't chasing me or making me. I opted in, but then I, fought her.
Yeah. Which is what is not that uncommon,
Yeah.
right? Because we're fighting a new something.
Mhm.
We're fighting to stay the same. We're fighting not to have to face that stuff that we have to face, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
And so, I want to talk about that. Like let's talk about, so in the course of not fighting and really going in and moving forward in your all financial capacity. I'm going to ask you this question first. As we've really got clear about the numbers and what you're doing and budgeting for traction and all this stuff, how do you feel like that's actually opened up space for more money to come in?
Oh my goodness. So I am an idea girl, and maybe some of you listening to this will be this person, but I have an idea, I go buy something. Like I have an idea, I go buy a domain name. I have an idea, I go buy all the boxes to ship it. And it's like, stop it.
Right?
So now when I have an idea, I write it down and we sit with it a little bit. In fact, just the other day, I texted you and said, hey, I have an idea of how to make money. And because something popped up on Facebook, and I didn't even go put it in a system that we communicate with, because I was like, I'm not even sure that, I mean, I could do it, but does it take me to my ultimate life? Probably not, And I was like, but I had to like say it, acknowledge that I had the idea. I wrote it down in my journal, and then I had to just sit with it. And I was like, no, that's not what my future Michelle Reynolds does. She's, not doing that. And I was like, okay, well, that was just an idea. And so what it's done is I closed, you're going to laugh at this, 21 Facebook groups,
Wow.
pages.
Uh-huh.
That, I'm all like, I'm the keto girl, I'm the self-care girl, I'm the,
Yeah.
like all these things. And I now have one Facebook page, and I do have probably 6 groups, which are customers, business builders, prospects, and then the team. And so it just, and then I've got like 2 keto groups. So, and which is my thing. I love keto. So it's, my kind of a hobby as well as a business. And because it's not the only thing I do, but within my business realm. But what it's done is I got very clear to the point that I know now so clearly how to get where I'm going. And this, like, just even this weekend, it was total inspiration hit. And I was like, how do I help someone else do this really quickly? And I made a roadmap for someone to get, what they want financially really quickly. So, and then I rolled it out to 600 people this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of fun. So and that inspiration and that excitement and that clarity, because it was complete clarity. I mean, I didn't have to run it by you. I just knew, and I
Right.
did it. And there was no second guessing it, or it just was so clear. And what that's going to do financially for me this year is make me a lot of money.
Right. Yeah.
And help other people make money, which is important to me. Is not, I want to be wealthy, but I want to help other people be wealthy.
Mm-hmm. So I want to step back and kind of, from a coaching perspective, outline how this all worked.
Yeah.
Because you said no to, it was an idea, and you didn't officially say no to it, but you put it down. You didn't go into action for it, right? Which could allow you to change, it allowed you to, first of all, be open to somebody big coming into your business, to need to create this path, right?
Yeah.
The second, go ahead.
We also, last week though, we set an intention last week for 64 people to come in the business, right? And we want them to be, producers. And those people showed up this weekend. Like, they called me.
And they called you because the other stuff was in order. They called you because this is what a lot of people don't understand. They called you because you didn't follow that idea. So you weren't off doing something else energetically, right? You were standing where you wanted to be standing. You were standing in, I'm attracting 64 people. I'm going to let that idea go. I'm going to be my future self, which means people can come in. If you're jumping all over, nobody can find you because you're like, oh, I'm doing this today. Oh, I'm over here today. I'm over here. Like people can't catch you. Right. But because you were standing where you are, number one. Number two, we'd set an intention. Number three, we also set an intention for additional money to come in to your life.
Yep. And the exact amount.
Right. Yep. The exact amount. A third of that has already showed up. Right.
Yep.
And you were tracking and you were counting and you were being the person who could help that person. So all the work that we've done in the last 2 months of our one-on-one coaching relationship really prepared you to fully understand how your business pays, right? To fully
absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. Because otherwise, I don't know how many business people are out there and you commingle money, and you're like, oh, I don't have my card with me. Just use this card. Right.
Yeah,
right. Or you have a credit card that's like a pretty high limit and you're like, oh, it can eat out. Let's just use this,
Right.
Oh, I need groceries. Let's use this. Oh, I need gas. Let's do this. And it's like, you don't know how much money you're spending.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what we did, I'm gonna let you keep going, and then I'll go because I have something that you triggered. I'll write it down.
Yeah. So we open up that space because not only do you actually know where your money's coming, but as a business, how do you get paid? So you can explain that to a big person because the person I met 2 months ago is like, I honestly don't have a clue. Like they didn't ask the specific question, but somebody really big who wants to come into your business and make a big investment and do big things, they don't want the answer like, oh, I don't really know. Right. Right. That doesn't attract that person. And it's not that we set out a list of things you should know to attract big people. We went to work on your stuff and we cleaned up all that and we knew how we can track all the money that comes into and you worked hard on, okay, this is how I can figure this out. Okay. And looking and going back and looking, okay, we can figure this out. Cause there was nowhere that said how that worked. Right.
Right.
So doing all the things we figured out. And then there's also space because you're not running around doing all these other things anymore. You had a weekend where things were taken care of. So you had a weekend to invest when the big person showed up. And so often what people don't realize is that when you're not leaving space, when you're running around like a chicken with your head cut off, you can't attract those big things because there's not time or space or knowledge of them. And no, people can't come in when there's not space.
Yeah, absolutely. The other thing, just a few things that I did is I went through Facebook friends and I was like, no. And I unfriended some people.
Yeah. Awesome.
Like energetically when I see someone's name and I'm like, I just unfriended them.
Yeah.
And, it doesn't mean I'm not friends with them. It just means we're not on Facebook together is all that means. Like, there's no, I hate you as a person because we're not friends on Facebook.
Right. Absolutely. Right.
Right. Yeah. It's like, it's just a social media site. Like, chill out.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I've been with my one Facebook page. I have been literally messaging people because again, people have, they knew me as this, they knew me as this. They don't know what I'm doing now. That they're watching this scattered, crazy person. And I wrote them all a message. I'm doing 50 people a day, inviting them to my new one page. And I say, much has changed in my life, including my hair, my address, my business. I would love to catch up with you. Please like my page. And when can we meet? And I've had so many people be like, wow, you look amazing. I don't know what you're doing. Let's connect. And I was like, yes. So that, again, being a single focus is really, really attractive to people.
Yeah, because it's just think about it just from an energetic perspective. It's a lot if you got to keep up with every single thing that if your friend is doing 100 different businesses or 100 different things, it's a lot to keep up with.
Yeah.
But if, there's one like that, there's freedom in that because you can share and, you can keep up from an energetic perspective, right? Then like, I know when I connect with you, that's one thing we can talk about and I'm not going to have to learn something new the next time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the other thing too, is I was going to say something, but I do have a second business, but I've not been advertising it.
Hmm.
And to the point where we're actually even talking about, do we need the website anymore? Because
Hmm.
we don't, we don't believe that my clients come from my website.
Right.
They usually come from referral, which has been the case my whole 12 years of doing this.
Hmm.
So, I'm almost close to taking that down. And I've had people say to me, I don't know if you're still doing your other thing. And I say, well, I have a focus, but if I only have room for, one or two more clients ever, cause that's just all I have room for. And they're like, oh, and I'm like, but they have to be the right people. So I'm happy to take your referrals and I'll assess if they're a right fit. And that's much different than being a needy business person who's begging for business.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
How does it feel to be that person? Let me see if you fit. I can choose who I work with.
It's amazing. And the wrong clients, or the clients that I chose not to work with, I don't know if I'd say they're the wrong clients. They just didn't fit anymore. Those have all gone away. I mean, literally, I think there's, almost all of them have just dissipated, like goodbye,
Right?
and new ones have come. And
Yeah.
so it's not like there's never going to be a new client when someone goes away. That just opens the room, the vessel for the right person to step in.
Hmm. I love it. It's awesome.
Yeah.
And it does. It's so easy, right? So many people want to figure out, like, how do I get this out of my life? How do I get this negative? How do I get this thing out that I don't want? And the real answer is you become the version of you that you want to be, that is successful, that has what you want, that is doing what you want, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's so good. So do you want to talk about my money, like my eating stuff? Do you
Yeah,
want to
that
talk
was
about
my next
that?
question. Yeah.
Okay. You asked the question.
So, we're going through your budget for attraction and you're like, oh, I want to spend $400 a month on food. Right. And you're like, I don't know what people spend, but I think I'd like to spend $400. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens? So we put that in your budget for attraction because that's how you do budgeting for attraction. You really start with what you want. And then you go look at what's actually happening. And that's opposite of the way most people budget. Most people budget, they say like, oh, I think I should have they just take the numbers first.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then they get frustrated and generally like a lot of times give up because it's not what they want. But if we start with what do I want? And this is what I want things to be. And then we go look at what actually is, you can get a lot further. So
And it was shocking. So I was like, 400 feels like a lot, for just, like groceries. And then there was so much for eating out. And I was like, man, that seems like just an awful lot. There's no way we eat that much. We, eat at home all the time. I'm like, yeah, whatever. So then we did what are you actually spending?
Yeah.
Wow. I spent 4 times that.
Right.
I was like, wow, what are we spending our money on? And I mean, literally I was like charging. And it was like, wow, that's really not in the budget.
Right.
And this is the thing is, as a survival person, past survival story person, that's not my story anymore, but it used to be, is that I run to food. That's been my thing. It's like when I'm stressed, when things aren't working, when I, am mental or whatever, that's my run to is I go to food because when I can create a problem, right, then I have to fix it. So it's like, so when my money's straight, my business is straight, my house is done, like there's going to be nothing else to like run to once, everything's in order. I'm just going to be okay, which is super cool. It's like, but what I had to do, cause I'm like, charge. Cassie was like, I want you to get $400. I want you to put in an envelope, $100 a week for groceries. And I want you to get, let's see, $240 and put that in an envelope for eating out $60 a week. So $160 a week is the allotment. And I want you to get it on the 5th of the month. And that's your food budget. And when it's gone, guess what? You eat at home what you have, right? Because let's be clear, my freezer's full, my refrigerator's full, my deep freeze outside is full. It's like, okay, we have enough protein to feed the world, I think.
Right.
Right. So it's like, stop spending money. And what I did last month, it was so fun, is we did spend all the money, but we had more than enough.
Mm-hmm.
We even went, because it was Christmas, we didn't do keto, and we totally ate food. It was fabulous. And we bought some extra Christmas gifts with the money that was there. We went to a movie, and it was like, we really don't need all that money for food. And so it was like, oh, well. And what I was doing was calling office stuff. And I mean, I just piled it all together. Like, this is all food, $1,200.
Right.
It's like, no, it wasn't all food.
Right.
Yeah. So when when we put it, it made me feel very powerful. So I'm going to show you guys. It's in my wallet, which is right here. And I still have them today. And so this is my eat out envelope. And this is my grocery envelope. And when the money's gone, like I said, we eat at home. It's way powerful. And it's not that it's a lack, like, oh, I can't eat out, because I can, but I don't have to spend all of it. So if this week, like if I want to save some of it and something comes up, then I'm like, yeah, sure, we can go out for drinks. I have money for that. It's like, you don't have to spend it just because you have it.
Right.
Yeah, which is a new concept for me. Because I like to spend every single penny.
Right. But this helps you. And I loved the first time you went and you're like, this puts me in control. It makes me think about it. It makes me not splurge on a whole bunch of stuff that's not keto. It makes me make it a choice, right? I'm going to have this cheat day, or I'm going to do this because I choose to, not because I'm stressed out, not because I don't know what I'm doing, not because whatever, I'm bored, or any of those things, right? It's like, I'm going to choose to, and I'm going to choose like consciously to invest this money in this food, right? Or I'm going to consciously choose to save it and invest it in something that I might enjoy more.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's so powerful. So I loved it. I mean, I almost was like, wow, I'm going to cash every single paycheck that comes and just divide it into envelopes and walk around with a wad of cash.
Right.
I'm not going to. Yeah. Don't anyone come take my wallet, because
yeah, right. Why do you think that feels more powerful than just having a card that you're swiping and not paying attention to?
Well, a card, because it's real money, like it's tangible, and I can measure it, where the card is so intangible for me. It's like, especially because I lived a little bit outside my means. Sorry about that. I tried to shut it off, but it wouldn't. It makes me go, when I have a credit card, I know there's money in the bank. So it's a debit card. I know there's money there. I generally know how much. So I can be like, whatever. I don't know really which category it falls in, but I know there's money there. Run it. Right. Credit card. I'm like, oh, I've got this limit. So spend up to the limit. And there's no tracking or accountability. And I don't really know where it fits in the budget. So it feels, how would I say it? It feels like a gypsy, where I'm just able to like, whatever, like I'm living the life, I can just charge this, and like, who cares? And we'll deal with the consequences later. That's exactly the feeling. It's the gypsy life. Yeah. Versus the responsible businesswoman, the profitable, successful businesswoman who knows where her money's going. Those are totally different women.
Yeah. And so it's not that one is restrictive. It's just being a different person, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I want to highlight this too, because your former money story is survival. And so the card and there's money in the bank, I don't know what, like that actually always fed into that story as well. Because so now you have an envelope and you make a choice and you say, okay, do I want that? Do I want to buy this for dinner, or do I want to cook XYZ that's already in the fridge or the freezer, right? And you make a choice in that moment. And you honor that choice, right? Because you either buy the thing or you don't buy the thing, and you move on. But when you were swiping and, there's money in the debit card, or, there's a limit, right? Then you would get to have a freak out later. You were creating freakouts, and you were creating fires to put out later and things to get stressed about, right? That was keeping other things away, like big people coming into your business, because it was helping you stay in that story, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. The other thing we did is we did a workshop, and in the workshop, I went and bought multiple things for an exercise we were doing. And Cassie was like, why did you do that? And I said, well, because they didn't have the one that I wanted. And so I bought 6 or something like that of something else that could possibly work, right?
Right.
So what I ended up doing is I took the 6 things back. I went to a different store. I got the one thing, and it makes me still today so happy to see that one thing. It just literally, it's sitting in my living room. It makes me so happy. So we, and again, it's not a rule. It's not like you're going to be in trouble if you break this. But when I go to the store, I buy no more than 5 things. And that includes groceries. Mm-hmm. So when I go to the store, I make a grocery list and I look at it and I go, okay, which 5 things do I need for my next few meals or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. And so I might go to the store more often, but I'm not walking out with like bags of stuff. And like, it's the whole, like, 20 bags to carry in versus 1 bag, right? Like 1 bag feels so powerful. 20 bags feels like, oh my gosh, this is going to take all day to put this away. And like, there's so many things that transition into money. It's just, it's the same baggage. So it's interesting that it's bags. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, it is. And I love that you brought up this story about buying the one thing that you actually want instead of the 6 things. And I think I talk a lot about investing in your happiness. And so often people get afraid, like, I'm going to feel restricted if I can't get all of this stuff. But I love the simplicity of this because it was so perfectly, right? You're like, and I want to say you're like, I bought all of these magazines. And I'm like, why? Why did you buy all of those magazines? Right. Yes. And you're, well, they didn't have what I wanted. Oh, okay. Yeah. So it's just very interesting, like all the patterns you can see and like, oh, well, when they don't have what I want, I just buy a lot of things to try and fill up.
Well, I was trying to make it fit.
Yeah, right. Make it fit. I'm trying to make it fit. And so you're right. It's the baggage. And out of that, like that 5 rule was really your own rule, right? Mm-hmm. Yep. It came from inspiration of saying, oh, yeah, you're right. I did that. What if I only let myself buy 5 things? That would be cool. And I love it. I totally was like, yes, do that because it makes you think. And in that simplicity, there's often way more freedom than in the tons of bags, right?
Yeah. And this applies to so many areas of my life. First of all, I'm teaching my young daughter, right? Mm-hmm. Buy 5 things when we go to the store because we don't need all of the other things. So she now is like, how many things do we have? Yeah. So fun, right?
Yes, right.
But it's the same way with my house. My house has, and so I did the outside, the garage last year. Mm-hmm. And I said in the winter, I was going to do the house, which I haven't started yet. I thought it was going to get snowy and cold and I viewed that as right? So, but the house is next. So taxes and then the house. And I am so excited to go through the entire house and go, have I used this in the 1.5 years that I've lived in this dream home? And if I haven't, it's going in a garage sale box and I'm not going to think about it again. Mm-hmm. Even when I unpack it, I'm not going to bring it back in because I will be like, oh, I love this. I will. We're human. Yeah. I will. And, if someone else wants it, then it's theirs. They can buy it from me. And then I'm going to create cash for what I do want. And, if I ever choose to move from this dream home, then guess what? I'm going to have just what I want and nothing more. And it's going to be great.
Absolutely.
And weight, let's talk about that. So, when I brought the 20 bags of food in that I didn't need all that food and I stuffed it in my refrigerator and I had, emergency stash of bad food. Like, I don't know. I'm not the only person that does that. I teach people to lose weight. So, but it was like, I told Cassie with the cash, we actually intentionally bought carb load food. So we have a bin in our house and it's on our cheat days. We intentionally choose to cheat that day. And it's just that day and we choose it. And we don't do it every day and we don't do it every weekend. We choose, one day, like every so often, every quarter or something that we just totally do whatever we want. But before that whole, I need to fill it. I need to make it fit. I've been known to go by and I'm embarrassed to say this, but I've been known to go buy, those Reese's peanut butter cups, the big ones, the cups that are like 6 in a pack. I can eat all 6. Let's be clear, because it's filling. filling a
else,
meat,
right? Yeah.
right? Like filling, I need to fill it. And it is not good for your body to put all that crap in it. And so now what I've learned to do is I've learned to make one really awesome sugar-free candy that's in my freezer at all times. And when I have a sugar craving, I go get one and I'm happy.
Mm-hmm.
Right? This is going 6 right then, like no one's going to know because I work at home alone.
Right. Right.
But these are all the same concept. It just shows up in different ways in your life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah. Or pens. How many pens do you have in your house?
Right.
Oh, Cassie was like, before our call was like, I got to go get a pen. And I was like, I have like 100 right here. What color would you like? Like, that's just another example of, needing to fill something. Like,
True.
We need to simplify.
Mm-hmm. I learned that. It's interesting that you mentioned the pen because I always have one. Now, I used to have 100 in a bag. In fact, I found something unpacking a box that hadn't been unpacked in a while. I'm like, oh no, nope, I have one pin. It was a bag of pins because I would just bring up, just always. And it's like, I just use one at a time until it's done and I throw it away now.
That's so funny because my mom was an English teacher, so we always had office supplies. So you should see, because I had a retail storefront or like an office building before I worked at home, and I have so many office supplies and pens and sticky notes and Sharpies. Like I have a whole box upstairs that's in my to-go box that it's sticky notes, and you're gonna laugh when I tell you this. And Sharpie thick, Sharpie thin,
right?
All the different options.
Yep.
The Bic pens that have the 4 colors that you push, stop it. And the reason I bought those, because I bought them on sale when school supplies were cheap. And then I was going to go sell them on eBay for more money. I was like, they're in my box upstairs for a year and a half. And I had them for at least a year and a half before that. So 3 years of just sitting there and I made no money.
Right. I love it because you had to jump on that idea, right?
Yeah.
I love how this interview is coming back around, right? But instead, this weekend, you didn't go jump on an idea. You pushed pause. You didn't go spend a bunch of money. And instead, you made a bunch of money.
I did. I know. It really is amazing. I'm like, I'm watching it transition and change. And I love the new change. I love the new results. And I'm like, it makes me go, we just got to keep simplifying and keep measuring, keep tracking, keep simplifying, keep ridding. The more I rid, the more I am like peaceful. Cause I don't have 50, like you said earlier, I don't have to, when I had 21 Facebook pages, social media here, social media here, social media here, social media here, plus my main Facebook page and Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn. And I was like, like that alone would drive someone crazy. Mm-hmm. So just being one person, one page, one happy soul is so attractive.
It is so attractive. I was going to ask what your advice would be to newly single women, but I think that's it, right? Yeah. To find one, to be one.
Yeah. And don't look for someone else to fill your soul, like fill your own soul and be your own person. And, when you are this sexy, hot, confident, wealthy, know where your money's going woman, that guy's going to be knocking down your door.
Absolutely. Yeah. I love it. So thank you so much, Michele, for celebrating your 1 year of being fabulously single on this show. And I look forward to next year's Year of Growth series.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone, for listening. And make sure to check out Michele's next interview.
Thank you for joining us on The More Money Show. To learn how to attract more money into your life, go to your favorite book retailer and order Cassie's book, Manifest $10,000.